Jan, komm mal her. Jetzt ist nur mein Laptop-Mikrofon. Kannst du mal da hinten was sprechen? Das ist jetzt nur mein Laptop-Mikrofon. Kannst du mal von da was sprechen?
Vielleicht doch mit den Saalmikrofonen, dann ist ein bisschen mehr.
Dass man dann, das könnte man probieren. Also das wäre jetzt so die. Du, Dennis, wir haben eine Lösung vielleicht. Wir nehmen einfach mein Laptop-Mikrofon und nehmen die, das geht so einigermaßen, und dann nehmen wir dazu. Und dann nehmen wir das Saalmikrofon einfach, und dass ihr auch laut in meinen Rechner reinkommt. Das ist zwar jetzt ein bisschen. Ja, das, ich glaube.
Dann nehmen wir das Saalmikrofon einfach und das ihr auch laut in meinen Rechner.
Ne, komm, das lassen wir jetzt so. Und dann, ich glaube dann, ich muss dann den Rechner neu booten wegen der Soundkarte oder so. Scheiße. Ja.
Musst du? Das mal ja, komisch. Können wir später mal rausfinden, woran es lag. Geht es? Jemand mal über.
Wir nehmen es mein Mikrofon vom Rechner und sprechen mit den Saalmikrofonen, damit ihr auch alle laut rankommt.
Das heißt, sollen wir die hier abbrechen? Oder ist das ja, aber die funktionieren über Fähre nicht gut.
Okay, dann machen wir es so mit Weiterreichen. Ja.
Genau, und dann würde ich euch echt empfehlen, also nur wenn ihr wollt. Weil die empfindliche ist.
Okay, dann machen wir es so mit Weiterreichen. Ja.
Okay, gut, dann kann ich dir diese Liste direkt schon geben oder wo die einfach vom Empfang? Okay, cool.
Wir nehmen jetzt meinen Rechner nicht. Kann man einmal kurz vorher einmal kurz zeigen. Wir lassen jetzt einfach stehen. Kann man einmal
aber die benutzen wir gar nicht.
Genau, den Sagen haben
ich brauche erstmal nicht, weil ich bin so nah an meinem Rechner dran.
Stell mich immer weg.
Der Stream hat zwar jetzt auch unsere Technikprobleme, aber für alle im Stream immer vorher anfangen, sowas aufzubauen.
Ja, weil da konnten wir den Studierenden mal sagen, dass wir immer
Nicht so eine Stunde vorher. Immer vorher anfangen, sowas aufzubauen.
Das ist an. Ja, also wir können aber den Studierenden mal sagen.
Hallo?
Vielleicht, wenn wir jetzt so sitzen, dürfen wir die Maske
Im
abnehmen.
Moment noch. Und Mittag
Ist ja komplett immer Maske.
ist die Regel schon ausgegeben.
Ah, okay.
Aber noch nicht publiziert.
Okay. Gut.
Wird gestern Abend
Okay. Gut.
So, dann fange ich jetzt einfach mal an. Also herzlich willkommen alle hier im Saal und online zu unserer Semesterbegrüßung des Wintersemester 2021 im Studiengang für stabile Medien. Wie ihr gesehen habt, hatten wir ein paar technische Probleme und haben jetzt mit einer Viertelstunde Verspätung jetzt anfangen können. Der Sound hat total gerauscht, obwohl wir das mehrfach getestet haben live, ne? Mehrfach wirklich. Aber das ist normal. Ich hoffe, dass ihr alle das ausgehalten habt, hier umzusitzen oder vor dem Rechner zu sitzen. Maybe do this also in English. As always, confusion about this. So also warm welcome to all the English-speaking students and German students as well. Sorry for the delay with a bit of a technical difficulties, despite the fact that we very carefully tested all the things, but that's what you get for doing it yourself. But if it would work, it would have been like a super nice setup. Anyway, that's the unstable media aspect kicking in. Okay.
Jan, can you level up the sound a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. The sound is poor.
Okay, so maybe I just do this entirely in English now. I'm still, after all these years, confused whether when to use English and when to use German English. Yeah. Okay, as I said, sorry again for this. This is a little bit of a bumpy start. I hope this looks better now. As I said, we had some technical difficulties with the sound, so that's why we use this one here, this room microphone now. So also excuse the poor sound quality online probably, which reminds me that I need to switch off the notification of the chat messages coming in. A few things before we really get started. So we remain seated, which is super awkward for me because usually I would do this standing up, and so would everybody else probably. We pass on the microphone and try not to violate any rules here. Yeah, again. Okay, that's just for this kind of preliminary preface to this thing. Okay, again, welcome to the Semesterbegrüssung Semester 2020-2021. We try to make this a bit more enjoyable, and I hope you enjoy seeing us suffering also a little bit with the technical difficulties. Maybe that's what you get. That should be the least you get out of this. Apart from this, we try to. Could you tune that down? Is it the camera? No. Who's doing that?
Who's speaking?
Where's the sound coming from?
I think that's speaker.
I mean, not the sound that I create, but the
Yeah, but
other
speaking
person
voice.
talking sound. Might be me, I don't know.
Maybe it's just the screen delayed on some.
Yeah, but where's it playing? I think, to be honest, okay, let's do this like a little workshop situation here. I think I know what this is. This might be my computer transmitting this over HDMI to the projector, which is okay. So this couldn't be any like. Okay, I think I don't know. It's because the projector was just transmitting my sound through the stream, which I have open here on my computer to see if it's still running, and blah blah blah. So I think this is actually like a very nice kind of demonstration of what this upcoming semester might look like. And I mean, we should really all brace ourselves, but also bear with this. Yeah, as I mean, you were just giggling, and I think this is really also how we should take it. I really wanted to. I didn't have like this like full set of arguments prepared why I think this could also be become like an interesting semester again, despite all the negative feelings that I personally have towards the situation, as probably does everybody else. But yeah, maybe let's just laugh about this. Yeah, I'm so confused by the technical difficulties. We will have. Let me just briefly introduce what will happen today. We will have like this welcome address by me as a representative of the program, Studiengangssprecher, but then we will also have Andrea Conductor here and the two GBA representatives, Peter and Ralf, and they will also say one or two words. Then we will do our typical Mediten show, which I always really enjoy quite a lot, which is a little thinner this year, so the kind of the things you students achieved over the last 6 months. It's a little less because less things happen, as you know. Then we will also announce a few upcoming things, lectures, etc., etc. And then we skip the kind of the introduction of the lectures because we have something prepared, something asynchronous, something for you to watch online. Then each lecturer presenting that. But let's get to this later. Again, like I really would like to pass on the microphone to each one of you, so that you can also try to navigate out of this awkward situation a little bit, and then we get to the reading afterwards. Okay, Peter, do we do this?
Yeah, we do this. I think this will be safe as long as I don't lick or kiss the microphone, and if I keep my hands out of. Put this on.
I don't know.
Awkward. Okay, much better. Okay, hi. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Peter von Meidel, professor for interface design, and currently have the administrative role of co-speaker of our sort of joint committee that's called GBA, Gemeinsamer Beschließender Ausschuss, along with Ralf, who will also introduce himself. Yeah, of course, I would also like to welcome you very much. I like this idea that this is like what the semester is going to be about. I cannot tell you, to all of you out there in the stream, how wonderful it is actually to be here and to see some people. There are some people on the other side of the camera, real people, keeping distant in this big room, and that's really fantastic. I thought what I wanted to say today as kind of like my opening or my idea for the semester is that I think we all agree that the situation totally sucks and it's terrible, but of course we're all happy and we're looking forward to the semester anyway. And so I think we're all well advised to practice positive thinking, right? I mean, like what could be strategies of positive thinking during this time? And I've come up with, I think, three ideas. One is there's like one concept that might like sweeten the situation for you is the realization that we're all in the same boat, meaning that like none of you in your generation have like a competitive disadvantage because of this, right? I mean, we're all suffering globally, and as terrible as that is, and it's wasteful in so many ways. In a way, and of course, this is also not true because some people are much more affected than others. But just looking as you, as a group of people, of media people studying, ideally you should not like suffer too much individual disadvantage in this situation. And I think we try very hard here as an institution, HFK, to actually make that come true, to be as fair as we can towards those that maybe do not want to be here today or cannot be here today. So I think that's something to kind of focus on and for all of us to work on. So just to be as fair as possible, and it like sucks for everybody. For some much more, I understand that, but I think that's one way of finding a positive note in it. Another, then of course, is kind of contradictory to that idea, but it still helps me to think about it sometimes. I have 2 kids and they're studying, they're like your age, they're abroad, they're not in Germany, and it's so much worse. So it's like this concept like the grass is always browner somewhere else. Somebody's always worse off than you are, right? So if you're feeling really bad, of course I know this is kind of like a cheap trick, but just remember there are things and people who are worse off than you are. And the third one is, and this is like Dennis told me this the other day, and I think this is like perfect, and this is what like kind of is also the situation today is really about that. If you try not to like eat any sugar at all for like half a year, and then after half a year you have like a tiny bit of sugar, you think it's like the best thing you've ever eaten in your whole life, right? So that's what this is also about. I mean, look forward to this shit ending soon, hopefully. And the little bit of sugar that I'm getting today here by seeing you guys and seeing some of the faces that I know again after such a long time is wonderful. So that's my third strategy of positive thinking today. And with that, I haven't said anything about the program or this semester. There isn't much else to say. I will pass on to whoever wants to grab the mic.
Ich glaube, es ist ganz okay auch, weil ich neben dem Rechner sitze für den Stream. Maybe I guess there are a few new people here who also will be here next Monday on the first semester meeting. But otherwise, I introduce myself as well. I'm Ralf Becker. I'm professor for experimental design and new technologies, and kind of still super hyper because of this technical stuff, which kind of really made me crazy nervous. And but I'm really looking forward to the semester, even like with all these conditions that kind of set a lot of constraints to what we can do. But let's try to make the best out of it and have a great semester and maybe hopefully meet as often as possible. There's like this rule that we have that each class is allowed to meet at least 3 times per semester. Eventually we have the chance to meet more often depending on the situation changes, and I will take full will take this chance on most of my classes, and I guess my colleagues as well. I can just say welcome, and I'm looking forward to the semester.
Yeah, good morning also from me. I'm Andrea Sick, and I'm a professor for media theory and artistic research here in the digital media program. And I'm at the same time vice director of our university, of the HFK, especially for artistic research and internationality. And I think probably I mean my colleagues suggested already to think positive and do the best, but probably this this is not always possible. And if this is not possible, don't hesitate to take our get in contact, for example, with our STIPA. STIPA is an organization of knowledgeable students as you, and they will give you advices, for example, if you have financial problems, if you have problems with your residencies, if you have also health problems. Get in contact with this group of STIPA, and they are assisted from Katrin Golditzer and me. So we always discuss if there are bigger problems, how we could solve them. And I think often we find some good suggestions how we could solve the problem, or what we could suggest, what you could do. So don't hesitate, get in contact with the STIPA and try to get some advances. And we are talking now in English, in a program that is English and German, so that shows already we could have some language problems. In the way that you can't speak German, the way you can't can't speak English or you only speak Korean. We don't hope this, but sometimes it happens. And for this we have a group also from students called language assistants. And you could also go to this group, write them an email, and they will help you with language problems. Language problems, for example, if you have to go through the German bureaucracy, if you submit a paper in German to Ausländerbehörde or something like this, and you can't understand what you have to do, then go to Language Assist. They will try to translate, try to help you with the right German words and things like that. Or you get a task from one of us or our colleagues, and you think, oh, I don't understand. What do I have to do? I mean, you always could ask the professor, but, and I don't think this would be a problem, but if you feel better, you can go to Language Assist and tell them, oh, we have a task, but I don't really understand what I have to do. Could you help me? And they are very happy to help you. And now we have there some students who really have connection to different languages. Yeah? So we don't have only English and German, we have also some Arabic languages, we have connection to Korean, we have connection to French, so we have different languages. And I think you should, I would be happy if you tell us all your colleagues you meet, or if you hear about some problems, and tell them, please get in contact. And the third thing, if there will arise some problems, is what I would suggest. I mean, you will meet us in classes. How often it will be possible? 3 times or less. That's what I think at the moment. It won't be more. But if you really would like to talk, to meet someone, you always can ask for an individual meeting. Individual meetings are always much easier. I mean, it's easier for the colleagues who live in Bremen than for the ones who have to travel to Bremen. Now, that's sometimes a bit problematic, but sometimes it's also good just to meet via Teams, individual. Then sometimes you can also try to solve a problem. And I think you shouldn't only use this possibility of individual talks for some classes. If you, in connection to some classes, you could also use it if you have any idea or something. Just ask us, and I think we all try our best to find an appointment for this individual talks. And yeah, the further things I will say later.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know, it's more weird thing. Okay. So let's move on to the next topic, which is the Meriten, the achievements. This is something I always enjoy quite a lot. Actually, I've been doing this. We have been collecting, I mean, I usually write the emails, but we've been collecting this over the years. I just wanted to click here. So if you, I don't know, want to look at this quantitative analysis here, shows that, as I said, it's a little less this year, and specifically last year, of things that have been going public. But nonetheless, I think it's good to do this year as well. So Meriten is basically about like how your works kind of leave the walls of this building and how they emerge in other contexts like exhibitions and contests and in articles published on blogs, etc., etc. By the way, we never started to do any Instagram or something like this. Maybe that's a little too too fine-grained for this. Anyway, but like a bit more of a significant appearance than just an Instagram post is what we collect here. And I'll do this afterwards as well, but I want to also encourage you always to send me or us, as the program, any kind of link or footage when you publish your works that you've been doing at HFK, or maybe sometimes a little also on the side, depends a little bit, when you get them published somewhere. This is really something that we are super proud of, that you should, and probably are also, like super proud of, and I think this really like accumulates and also shows others like what's happening and what's possible also. So let's run through the perfect life. We haven't talked about this, but we're like super interesting. I'll switch this now to the screen to the other side. Okay, so this is actually an interesting project. Maybe also, I'm not going to talk much about the projects. The slides are available online if you want to research the projects afterwards. And most of the projects, not all of them, but most of the projects are also on our website in the project section on the right. But this project is super interesting because it's been ages ago, but it keeps reappearing. By Oliver Nöting, the Frugalisten, like a project about how to stop working at the age of 40. And he got published on Spiegel Online. Another project, I just mentioned this before, this is actually not related directly to our program, but it's a master student of ours. By the way, Oliver was also a former master student. Ali is currently a master student, and he's also been like on the side, while he's studying, he's also a hip-hop artist, and got featured in 2 occasions on Daily Bandcamp blog, I guess, and the Berlin Bazaar, 2 stories about his work as a hip-hop artist. And again, I think it's also somehow related to that program. Then Lena Heinz and Henrik Iratschka, both former HFK students and now PhD candidates, and also lecturers in our program. And they have received, I think it was somewhere around May, I wasn't exactly sure, but they've been accepted into our PhD program. And I don't know if you're going to say something about this later, Andrea.
I planned it for later. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll shut up and you do this later. I just want to mention this, that there is actually a PhD program now happening, and Andrea's going to say something about this. But this is also, I think, really like an achievement that 2 of our students are now in this collaboration with mine and Bremen in our newly installed PhD program. Then, this is not exactly a student thing, but we also thought it belongs in here. This is the publication of a book, a collection of essays in relation to the lecture series that happened last years actually. The Salon Digital, but there are actually contributions from
we would like to give you as a present, everybody, a book today. Because we bought it upstairs, but we will, at the end, we will just pick it up and bring you it. And if you would like, we will.
For being physically present, so this is not for the online people. There's at least one reward that you came here and set through this whole thing. Like a tangible reward. Okay, but the book is actually, you can also buy it for like a student price, etc., etc. It's really interesting, and the series, the Salon Digital, is going on. Okay, so and now back to this is actually what this is usually about. This is one work of Nathalie Gerard on framing textile ambiguities, and every year there's like this 1 or 2 works that really create a lot of attention, more than others, and it's really hard to guess which one this is. But this year apparently it's Nathalie's work, and she's been published in the Neural Noral magazine and got the first prize at the Friese Design Prize internal competition here, and it was published at Creative Applications Network, and so on. And that's really something to be proud of her, I guess. And Felix also sent us this. This is a collaboration he did also outside of HFK, but totally in Felix Fisco's like patent style, and also Rita's voice style, I guess. They did like a workshop at an exhibition at the Phenom in Wolfsburg, where they did stuff with kids, I think, on mobility, and that's what it looked like. It was nice research there. And then, and this is also another thing that, again, like another example of how it is really also interesting for us and for yourselves as well. If students, Daria in this case, also, you know, like work and things or send us works that are, yeah, again, like didn't emerge exactly from HFK, but are somehow connected to you as a person, to you as an artist or designer. And this is actually like an article about Daria's project, where she raised money by selling her works to support the Belarusian democracy movement. This is from Hakim, Perpetual Productivity, I'm a Robot, and it's an interview in Contemporary and where he got published and so on. And this is a work by Lotta Stöber, Indisposable, and it got featured on the Clock magazine blog with an interview, and it's also really nice work to check out. Unfortunately, that was it already for the meeting this year. Again, like, send us your things, you know, your work whenever it gets published somewhere, whenever you do an exhibition. I really like, and I like it collecting things, and that's really one way to satisfy this urge of mine. There are many ways like if you don't know where to start, you know, you do every semester, you do 1, 2, 3 really nice works, and really don't. This is now my praying to the student situation. Really don't just let them, you know, like evaporate somewhere in the corner of your room or in a drawer or something. Really try to make them and get them out of there. I strongly believe that this is really, it's almost like an obligation that you have to do this to yourselves, to build your portfolio, to build your CV, to, I don't know, build your personality, to get like different feedback than just from this bubble, this HFK bubble, and so on and so on and so on. There's many like reasons to do this also. Maybe also because it's also always a little bit uncomfortable to try to get your work published, because you can always get rejected, and that's not really a nice feeling. But I think like a serious question is, first question is like, where and how do I find places to publish these things? And of course it's completely like changing all the time, the places and situations where you can do this, but we have 1 or 2 or 3 places where we try to collect these things ourselves, but also make this also a habit to share like occasions as well. I mean, even if you hear about an award, if you hear about like an exhibition call, a call for paper, etc., go ahead and share this. Like one place to do this is in the Slack thing. I don't know if this one actually doesn't work. Something works today. We have this one section which is calls, and here you can actually look for places to publish your work, but also publish, you know, some links yourself. Like a lot of people do actually. Evgeny, for example, he's like a former student. He's been like sending us these residencies and awards, etc. It's really nice. And then there's like our blog, where we also try to collect not just ways to or places to publish your work, but also a few other handy things. And then there's this. This is our announce blog, and I just run through this because the links are there on. It's very much better for you to look at them afterwards. And then I also have this, it's perpetually outdated kind of collection of another list of interesting things. Okay, so these 3 to 4 places are really like a good starting point to look for situations and places to send or publish your work to. Okay, that was it for the Meriten, and let's move on to the not presentation of our classes. I'll just do this, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so usually, for those of you who don't know, I mean you probably all do know, but usually there would be like a series of colleagues sitting here, and they would walk up here and talk about like 1, 2, 3 minutes what they want to do. Not this year. This year we decided to mainly because of this limit of people, etc. We decided to ask them to record a little video. And that, I don't know, I don't even want to reflect on this now, but maybe we should really do this at some point in a gentle and positive way, but I think it's really also interesting. I was really, I browsed through a few of the videos, and it's so different, and but it's also really them often, you know, the way they record, the way they look, the way the camera is positioned, what's in the background. It's so much different than this normal situation here. So we have this link here. It's our shortener URL, HBB, and then /classes. And if you click on this, you find like the bachelor classes, the master classes, but also like a full playlist with all the videos. And I'm not going to play any of these videos now, but just to give you like a brief like overview what's happening here and here. Okay, just like a brief overview of like what's in stock for you if you go there. We also thought that because there's been a lot of talk about like this asynchronous formats where you can actually where you don't have to sit in front of your computer for hours, but more like can do this in your own time. One of the opportunities of this video teaching situation, and I really hope that this also resonates with this idea because yeah, you can now sit somewhere, watch the videos on your phone, or go home and drink a cup of coffee on the sofa, watch the videos, and maybe also skip the ones you're not interested in. Let's see. Maybe it's not cool, maybe it is, I don't know. This is definitely one of the experiments that we want to do. So this was the introduction of the classes already. Also super quick.
Usually it takes like 2 hours.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and everybody falls asleep, the oxygen has gone, has left the room. Oxygen went home, and so that was simple. So let's move on to the announcement. And maybe I really also pass on the mic because I don't want to be the only one talking all the time. Yeah, I actually really got rid of my angry inside. Angry left the room. So the announcements. I mean, usually, oftentimes these are exhibitions and lecture series. Again, like this semester, it's going to be different, obviously. But we do have a few lecture series to be announced. Most of them, actually all of them are online. But also a few other things. Maybe I'll hand over to Andrea for this one.
Salon Digital will happen again this semester. In a little bit, we changed a little bit the format. It's kind of in the framework of the Salon Digital, but it's now more because we learned last semester we can't really create the salon situation online. So we said like we try to find something else, and what we do now is kind of virtual studio visits where people take us on a tour in their studio somewhere. So we have now this year people in Korea, in New York, and in London, and people in Berlin. So that's something that we usually could not do. So we usually can't invite people from New York to come over for a talk, and that's kind of the nice thing that we have a look into the studios of some people, and they talk about their work and their practice. And we also have maybe the chance to ask some questions that go beyond like the questions about the work, but also how do they make a life from being an artist and so on. And these, you can check out the dates on the website, Salon Digital. We will kind of post them on the usual channels, so it will be streamed, but will most probably be on Teams. So, yeah. Okay.
Andrea, you want to do this?
Yeah. So we have
I don't need this, I have it alone. So we have, probably for those who are new here at HFK, we have here a research project. Dennis is also with us. Hazard is also in this team of the Dynamic Archive. the Dynamic Archive is a research project, and it's really an archive. You can have a look. It's the Dynamic Archive net is the web address. There you find 200 and more contributions about methods and their versions. And there you also find some explanations about this Dynamic Archive. We have also, in connection with the Dynamic Archive, always artists in residence. And these artists in residence get an amount of money to produce a work in connection to the Dynamic Archive, but they also will give workshops and lectures at HFK. And we have this in cooperation with the Schwankhalle, a post-dramatic theater here in Bremen, and with the Media Art House in Oldenburg, the International Media Art House. And this time we have two artists in residence. One is Antonia Bär. Antonia Bär is a quite famous performance artist. She has a strong connection to the queer culture. And for example, you can find in the net something like a laughing performance. That's really cool. I think there are lots of YouTube videos about this laughing performance. And she's invited to create a work in connection to the Dynamic Archive, but she will give also a workshop. The workshop will take place in March. At the moment, we don't know if this workshop will be online or we do it personally here in our space. That's what she wants and what we want, because she works really with body presence. And but she will also give us a lecture. Everything will be announced about all the channels. The other one is Sebastian Lüttgert. Sebastian Lüttgert is a software artist, and he has right now an exhibition in the Media Art House in Oldenburg. There he created a work in connection to archive structures, artificial intelligence, also in discussion with the Dynamic Archive, and he will give also a workshop. His workshop will take place online and with walks. So we won't meet at HFK, but you will meet for walks and online. That's his concept for his workshop, and he will give also an online lecture. Yeah.
But this year, not next year.
Oh yeah, Irena just wrote actually.
I sent you a new slide, but there was this confusion.
Yeah, go ahead, Tina.
Yeah, that's the lecture is in November this year. No? It's not next year. This year, November, it will be his online lecture. The workshop in February. The online lecture from Antonia will be in January. The workshop in March.
Okay. Next up, Peter, something for you to present.
So nice. Yes, this is a lecture series which is part of the course Introduction to Digital Media, which is a requirement for all first semester master students. And this year we will have 8 online lectures by different members of our faculty that will give their version of the of what digital media might be, and also obviously talk about their own work. It kicks off Monday, the 9th of November at 2 o'clock in the afternoon with Johannes Schilling. So Johannes, some of you may know, is from the Uni. He's an HCI person, so about, I would think, roughly half of those lectures should also address the more applied side, the more designy side of our program. And you are all invited to join these lectures. via Teams with this link /IDM talk, our usual abbreviation. Yeah, that's about it. Hopefully you will have time to join us then.
Again, me. Prepared together with Johanna Mehl. Johanna Mehl is a lecturer, teacher in also in media theory, mainly in the bachelor's, and she does her PhD in Cologne. And we have to prepare together a small lecture series about critical futures. That means the topic is a bit about dystopia and with a special focus on Afrofuturism. And we will have 3 lectures, especially the first one, Natasha Kelly, is very much connected to the performance and to politics. And the second, Mabena Yehuesi, is very much connected to graphic design and activism. And Franziska Bauer and Rosanna Umbach. Franziska Bauer is also a lecturer from us. She works together in a group, and this group is very international, and they are also activists and graphic design artists, I would say. So, all the 3 lectures are under the focus of critical futures and Afrofuturism, I would say. All the lectures are Teams, and you will find the link published somewhere later.
What do you think of the Russian toilet? Okay, so actually we left this in from last year, but I think it's still super relevant to point towards this ongoing student project, Alima Grezi. I don't know if you've probably heard of this. If you haven't, then people pointed towards this. Usually we had people talk about this also. Now it's just a slide, and an old one, I guess. But we left it in there. So Alima Grezi, tune in. I mean, how could it be any more virtual than radio listening, right? And another thing, this is actually, this is one of the more difficult topics, I think, the studios. There are, I don't know, if you don't have a place in the studio at the moment, feel free to apply for one. The studios are actually open. You can go into the studios and work there, but there are also, of course, all the Corona regulations are also in effect there as they are everywhere else. We are still negotiating and talking about how this can become a thing for you, to have something like studio space in this now starting semester. There are apparently right now it seems as if 10 people can be in each studio at a time if the studios get cleaned up. Let's see if that's actually going to be possible. Again, it's always changing, but there's also considerations, and it's something that we've been also after, but not really managed to get any clear answer on this. There's also the prospect of rooms being rented for workspaces for you. Again, as always, this is a super volatile situation, and if you're interested in working not at home and are not already in the studio group, because there's also a Slack channel and ongoing conversations elsewhere, then make sure to talk, maybe start with me or Shuruk and Liliane, who are currently the studio speaker, about this, and we will then also keep you informed on how the situation evolves. I mean, really as a side note, I can really totally understand people really had enough of working from their homes, even if it's not a reasonable wish at this point in time. And as a university, of course, we also try to facilitate as much as possible. But again, as you can hear from the things I'm saying, it's very, very unclear. But still, under normal situations, circumstances, you would talk to the people in the studio and apply basically for a place there, and really make this. We also do this, and there will also be like a post-corona time. And if you are like interested in not maybe now, but afterwards, working in the studio, really start contacting the people already. Start talking to them if you haven't done so. I can really only encourage you to find some kind of workplace situation with other people, because that's mainly, I think, what studying is about. Okay, that's also a slide we left in from last year, but Andrea, maybe you want to say something about this, or should we just leave it here as a reference for later? This is
that's probably the point where I can say something about the PhD program.
Maybe because you don't have a slide for that. So
that fits very well, because Katrin is Gollwitzer is also involved into this process of a binational PhD program. And so we just started a binational PhD program with the University Leiden in the Netherlands and the University Groningen also in the Netherlands. And I think later on they will also be involved the Kunstfach von Stockholm and some others. But at the moment we are focused on the Netherlands with Leiden and Leiden in connection with Royal Academy of Den Haag, and the University of Groningen in connection with the Minerva Academy in Groningen. Both universities, Leiden and Groningen, have a big reputation. They are quite famous. Especially Leiden is a very old Oxford-like university, and Groningen is very famous for natural science. So medicine and things like that are very, very big there and very famous. So it's quite good for us to have this relations, because there are lots of possibilities in these universities and in this connection. I just tell you shortly how we have planned it and how it started. You will be supervised from HFK and from someone from the other university, and then you will have colloquiums there and here. You will have conferences here and there, and you have the possibility or the task to teach here, but you get paid. So it's not just an honor to teach. It's also like a small job, what you can have through your doing your PhD. And you will teach here, not in the other university mainly. And we have also some funding structures, but for this you have to apply. And the applying process is not easy. It's hard work, I must say. No? So probably that's shortly how it works. We started it. We have now 8 PhD candidates, and you will be. The formal thing is you will be research fellow at HFK, and you will be immatriculated at the other university. And that's very important also for the funding system and for your status. And this being research fellow at HFK means that you have all the access to the HFK as all the other students. You are kind of accepted as PhD student. And when we will have non-corona times, we will have an office for the PhD candidates where you can have your table. And it's not a big studio, it's more like you have that possibility to write, and then you can use the workshops. So that's the system, and we prepare right now a website. There also will be published the starting points of all the 8 PhD candidates and their work. And this website will be published, I think, around the 10th of November. We will announce it. And then you can just check to get better know how it works and so on. And so if you are at the end of your master and you really have interest doing PhD, then you could get in contact with one of our professors at the HFK who has a PhD. Professor and PhD is very important for being the first supervisor. Professor with PhD. And the second supervisor can be then a professor, I say now like very formally, without PhD. But the first professor who will be your supervisor will be the one who has a PhD. And you should get in contact with this person and talk about your ideas and that you want to do it, and then you get some advice. And probably you can also talk to Katrin Gollwitzer. But I think at the moment it's really important because we have lots of people who think probably I could do the PhD. Ne? So I think just wait, and then at the end of your master, you really can take it serious. Do I want to do it? And should I discuss it with someone and so on? And then you will get some help and go to the supervisors or go to Katrin Gollwitzer, and she will also give you some advice how it could go further. And Katrin Gollwitzer gives also offers also a class without credit points, so it's really just for you, to prepare you on a bit on academic writing in connection to your artistic work. So to find there something like a strategy or to discuss this and to make some small writings to figure out how it could work for you. And you will do also some readings. This class is now full, so it was announced and it's now full, but it will be next semester, it will be again. So if you think, oh, I really would like to join this class for preparation for PhD, then you can take this class. It should be mainly for preparation for PhD. Some I have seen will use it for preparation for master thesis. That's also kind of possible, but our main focus is PhD, not master thesis. Yeah, are there any questions?
We get to the question part in the end.
Sorry, that was wrong. That was the wrong question.
But it's actually that was the wrong question. But 2 slides. In 2 slides time. Also, we want to point towards the student council. Actually, Simon, I think you are, if I'm not mistaken, part of this as well. Don't say any words now because again, like we need to keep this really strict. But just so that I can point a finger at somebody, it exists. It exists. Damn it, wrong. It exists, and you can check out their activities and contact them under this addresses, mail and web address, and you've been doing a lot of things and
all the ASTA website. There's way more information on the ASTA.
On the ASTA website, and also there's also some voting going on as well, right? So
yeah,
I need DM people.
Say a few words at the end, or I don't know.
Or you can also contact Simon or afterwards.
Careful.
Just 1-2 words. Okay, and then also for those who are, that's probably not for the higher semesters, that's the first semester welcome address on Monday, but for those of you first semesters who are listening right now, there's also a specific place for you to hear probably some of the things of today, but a lot of other new things as well, and it happens on Monday, 10 and 1:30.
With better sound.
With much better sound, and then also quick announcement, because it's also just been published, released. There's like an FAQ for students, where hopefully a lot of questions are answered in a more or less simple way. There's also like more official pages where some of the corona-related, but not only corona-related like questions are answered, but really check this out. Also, you can also contribute by giving feedback whether some of the information you found useful or not useful, or what's missing still. This is like an evolving thing also. So make sure to also read here. I was hoping and I'm still hoping that this will also like be like a go-to place, for example, when you lost a URL to some form that you need to fill out to do something, which is quite a thing at the moment. So that should also be like a place to go to. Okay, so FAQ hfk-plane.de. And then maybe almost like the last thing is we will stick around virtually probably. No, definitely virtually only on Slack and on Teams. All of us and Simon as well as a student council representative. Maybe I don't want to impose this on you, Simon, but maybe you're also doing this for some like more or less informal Q&A. We will have the general channels open, but you can also DM us, send us a direct message. Because normally we would stand here and talk to you, which is not possible today. Okay, and I think this brings us almost to the end of this presentation. I've posted this in the Teams, and somebody I think was in the Slack channel already. The slides for this presentation, specifically the links to all these resources that we talked about today, are available on this address. Yeah, make sure to also revisit this, and then I think they'll stay online for at least a long time, hopefully. Okay, and I don't know, Peter, maybe you say the last closing statement.
Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe we have some questions here in the audience that we could answer if you speak up loudly. But there's so few of you here that the likelihood is slim. Anyway, no questions? No. Then,
there is one.
oh, there's one. Can you like speak up really loudly, then the people online can catch your...
Yeah, of course. I'm first semester, so I think maybe I don't know a lot of things, but I'm just wondering how can you like have the opportunity this semester to, like, if you do something like a project, how can you show it somewhere, like if you have like connections with galleries or events that will take place that will have the opportunity to show our work. And also, I was wondering if there will be some sort of physical exposition at the end of the semester with student projects, or it'll be like online?
If you want to...
Yeah, there's one thing planned in November, like exhibition of the master project from last semester. So this is hopefully going to happen. Is there a slide for that? No.
I was wondering why.
But he knows
There
better.
are some students who will prepare an exhibition.
But in general, yes, we are really looking forward to do these things, and usually Dennis and me at least sometimes do exhibitions of classes with, and usually would have the Hochschultage in January or February.
February, but not this year.
That's not happening, so we try to do it if it's possible, and we get an opportunity to get a space, or we do it here, and it depends a little bit. So we.
But at the moment, it's really not plannable, because the situation is so that it's really difficult to plan events with the public. So it's easier to plan it here in HFK than in external situations, because that's for a university very difficult because we have to control the situation. But we try it, and we have one first step is the exhibition of a master project in Güterbahnhof, and then we have also some other formats, I would say, probably. Victor, do you want to say some words about Circa?
Yeah, there is this like student-run initiative
called Circa 106, and it's in, I mean, maybe you will get to know Bremen more in the time, it's in Theater. So it's a gallery that also is connected to the HFK, but it's outside, like more in the city center, you know? And there, like the idea was to be hosting physical exhibitions. Right now, because of Corona, it's more like a residency space. And but we will be launching sort of like open calls. So there's opportunities right now. Manana, who's also part of the program, is doing a residency with another artist who's outside from the program. And there will be another residency in November as well. And then hopefully we'll publish stuff next year as well.
Thank you.
There's another question from Hakim. He asked online in the chat. He asked where will be Hochschultage. So no.
No Hochschultage. There will be probably Hochschultage in the summer. That could be, but we don't know yet. It's not. We don't have the time really to plan this. That's not possible. And I think it's if you would like to show things to people, at the moment it makes sense to plan it on different levels, to find different possibilities, because we have to change our plans ad hoc. So last semester first we always thought, at the end it will be possible, when nothing was possible, but we had some walks. And so it's, I think it's good to plan different levels.
I would like to just quickly, I know now that we have 2 first semester students in this small group here, 3. And there might be maybe more listening online. It's great to have you here for Monday. Next Monday, you again have the opportunity to register online the way you've done for this event. If you want to come and be physically present, you can do so and register again online, or follow Monday's presentation via the stream. If you don't want to come back on Monday. And those links can all be found on the Hey website. You should have also received a PDF letter at some point from our administration with all these explanations and links in them. So do look through your mailboxes. It should be there somewhere. Are there any more questions in the chat? Because I think that would be very helpful.
There's one very specific, maybe that's hard to answer. I have a question. I was wondering, as someone in the 3rd semester of the digital media, in Klammern Medieninformatik, if semester abroad will be voluntary, or it will be state.
This is like this.
Very specific.
It's neither or part of the program, or is it like interesting for a welcome or something. Where did you actually get on YouTube, right?
On YouTube.
Yeah, okay, that's on the Slack.
But somebody who can answer that question would be Claudia Kessler, for instance.
Okay, then I think let's wrap it up, and I hope that you make the best out of this semester, and maybe it's not that terrible, and maybe it's actually cool and fine, and maybe with all the ups and downs it works out in the end. And maybe at some point in time we need to register physically to be allowed to go online, because right now it's always the other way around. I don't know. Just a thought, a project for later. And again, like we stick around virtually, and you can ask us questions, not just today, but I think actually the entire semester. And have a good start and a nice semester too. And see you somewhere.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Okay. Müssen wir jetzt alle rausgehen?
I have to ask you guys, unless you have more questions or so, put on your masks and have to leave the building, unfortunately. So.
Dennis, wir bräuchten die Bücher dann noch, ne?
Ja,
Sind
weiß
die bei-
ich habe keine Ahnung. Achso, die sind in dem Raum da
Well,
hinten.
because you're
Aber wie kriegen wir das jetzt hin?
just for the time now.
Soll ich, also ich würde die jetzt eben holen, sonst wenn. The book!
The book?
I will pick it up. Great, you're gonna sit on your stay on your chair and I pick up.
Stay at your chairs.
The HFK bags that some of you found on the seats are actually for first semester students, but anybody who really is dying to have one can take
One
as
second.
well. But we don't have limited numbers of them, so if you're first semester, make sure to grab one of those.
When the class starts?
If you don't absolutely need one, leave
starts
it
on
for
the
first semester,
3rd of
but if you
November.
really like
Also
one,
with Andrea.
Yeah.
The readings.
Now the readings will be 1 week later.
Okay.
But the first meeting is on the 3rd of November at 4.
On team.
And then on Teams. And I think I asked Claudia to update it on Artist. There should be now the starting date. Yeah.